Elon, please don't do this. This was a message from the investors to Elon Musk, after which he decided that he's not going to take Tesla private. As you can see, a very simple tweet. He just said, stay in public, with a link to a longer letter and some explanation. We're going to go over that and a few other things that I've missed out on in the last 3 days, as I was at the Monterey Car Week, enjoying so many amazing electric car unveilings, and just it was amazing. I'm going to show you some exclusive footage, just a little preview today, as we're catching up on some news on tomorrow. Unless there is a bigger news, I'm going to give you guys a little bit more footage and more explanation, and also there are a few other news, of course, that had happened, and I wanted to go over them with you as well. All of this is coming up next. Welcome to those of you who are watching me live on Patreon. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Sunday. I know I usually don't do live shows on or news shows really on this day, but it's this type of the day today because we are. I missed 3 days, just like I said. It was a Monterey Car Week. But if this is your first time here and you're looking to staying up to date on everything that's going on in the world of electric cars, you keep to the right place. Go ahead and click on the subscribe button down there so you don't miss anything moving forward. All right, just like I said, some exclusive footage from the Monterey Car Week very quickly before I do more tomorrow, and I will be producing separate videos because I had interviews and kind of in-depth reports to you guys probably over the last couple of weeks as I edit all of the footage that I brought. But let's talk about the biggest news, of course, that Tesla is going to be staying private, and the message from the investors that Elon said that he's got was like, don't do this, dude. I gotta tell you, even though I really absolutely hate how he did this whole thing with a tweet and all of that stuff, I absolutely love the idea of Tesla going private. As a matter of fact, I would support almost any company who's been relatively established to go, going private, so they're not under the pressure and BS of the Wall Street, and they can concentrate on working for their customers rather than working for their investors. Now, here's a quote from the letter that also followed from Elon. He basically said a number of institutional shareholders have explained that they have internal compliance issues that limit how much they can invest in a private company. So he talked to them. That turned out to be, and he said that he still believes there was enough funding secured to move forward with it, which kind of makes you question, well, how does this even matter then if you still had enough? I have to say, this has just been one big mess. I'm glad it's over. I think almost everybody, including Elon, is glad that it's over. I think he's still going to end up in some trouble with SEC because I don't think funding was secured. I think it would be, I would be surprised if there was some facts that would prove that. But if anything, I hope he will slow down and do something more like this, basically announcing some quick announcement, and then there is a letter, and obviously him talking to the board, him talking to the investors, figuring out how this works. It looks like he didn't really realize that some of the nuances of taking the company private and what happens to the existing investors. Like, all of that should have been done behind the scene. If he wanted to be transparent, obviously he could have phrased it a little bit differently and just kind of giving us a very general idea of what's happening rather than giving, a prize of 420 or, and stuff like that, and funding secured. I hope he learned a lesson. I hope this kind of blows over finally. And I hope we can concentrate on, and this was kind of the thing that he mentioned in the letter, saying, hey, listen, let's concentrate on what we're doing right now, which is Model 3. I don't even know if too many people reported that they've reached 6,000 units per week, which is a big deal, and they keep going, and it's been very successful. All of that's been kind of on the second page of all the news because of all this drama. So hopefully all of this is going to be behind us soon, though SEC investigation will continue. And of course, we'll hear back from them at some point, and we'll talk about it then. All right, let's talk about what I've been asked 1,000 times in the last few days about Kalashnikovs, the gun maker from Russia, coming up with their own electric car. And I know I'm Russian, and I don't speak for all Russians, or really more than one, just me. But I'll give you my quick feedback on that. Before that, of course, I want to remind you that this show and this channel is sponsored by Avanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. There's a discount code in the description of this video. Go ahead and grab it if you're shopping there, so you can save yourselves a few bucks. All right. This thing is apparently going to compete with Tesla per Kalashnikov and their media release. They've presented this car claiming over 220 miles of range, which already means it's not exactly competing with Tesla. Going to compete with the Kona and Nero, but not necessarily with Tesla. At the same time, this is the body, obviously. Not many of you are familiar with Russian cars, and there's a good reason for it, because they don't make them very well or well enough to sell them outside, especially North America or Europe. Even though there's some Russian cars in Europe, but this was one of the first hatchbacks that they made, I think back in the 70s. Ugly little thing, of course. I'm not really sure why they decided to put that body on it. Almost any design they could put together quickly would do. To me, this represents the fact that they're not serious, because if you want to get as much range out of the electric, out of the battery, you would make sure there's some aerodynamics that are a little bit more updated than 40 years. 40-year-old. So to me, this is a joke. Russia has never produced a decent car, decent enough to be sold anywhere. They will continue not doing that. Great try, and if they're serious about it and they can come up with some designs and announce some funding, factories, all of that stuff, that would be great. For now, I'm just going to treat it as a joke, as it is. If they really do have the technology in there, what a waste then. And then I hope they can actually step it up and start producing it, because hey, maybe if they are serious, they can they can put Russia back, well, really for the first time on the map of car makers. But I say this is going nowhere. All right, now as you know, over the weekend what was Friday, Saturday, no, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I released on Friday, instead of doing this live show, I released a dash cam video about how everybody absolutely must have a dash cam. It's like a third most important thing after wheels and the windshield, and I was just making sure that it's very, very clear to everybody. And guess what? While I was parked in the Monterey Car Week, I got hit and run, and guess what I did not have yet on this new car that's literally 3 weeks old? A dash cam. I literally was, while I was unpacking and setting up and remodeling the house, putting a dash cam, was at the bottom of my priority list. And I guess the irony of it is that I could have really used it, because obviously a car backing into me would have been, their license plate would have been captured, and I would be able to figure out who did this. Now, at least $500 is what I'm going to have to pay out of pocket for the deductible, and hoping that my insurance doesn't go up. But this is what happened to me over the weekend, unfortunately, and I'm definitely going to put the dash cam within a week now. So, and go ahead and watch the video if you haven't already, because I'm now switched from Blackview, which I've hated, to ThinkWare X550s. I'm loving it on my Tesla, and now I'm going to put it on my Volt. Another thing that was disappointing is Leno's Garage segment about Tesla. Everyone was looking forward to seeing the Roadster and maybe finding out something new. I didn't see anything new for myself. It kind of this segment was very short. And it was almost like for people who like, I don't know, were in a coma for the last year, and they just kind of to keep them updated on what's been happening with Tesla. Nicely produced, but I really didn't see anything. That's why I don't see that many people talking about it. Kind of disappointing for those of us who were, hoping for something new, but there was none. All right, before I get to the Patreon and comment of the day and all of that stuff, let me just give you a quick preview of Monterey Car Week. I gotta tell you, Monterey Car Week has been absolutely amazing. I've just seen so many amazing cars. I've strengthened relationship with some of the brands that I already had, created relationships with brands that I didn't have before. Just had a great time, hung out with Byton's team once again. I'm really falling in love with that brand, as you probably know, surprise. So here's some of the footage. As you can see, this was to my surprise. This was the IDR from Volkswagen. This is Infinity's little concept, which I really wasn't going to cover. This is the Byton's, one of a couple of them, Byton's booth, and their brand new four-door sedan. And I got a test ride for the first time. Look. a Rimac Concept 1 I just saw driving around, and of course a Rimac Concept 2. And I had an interview with Amari Rimac, the CEO and the founder of the company. Probably recognize this little jack from the royal wedding. It was there, the very first concept of the Taycan Mission E from Porsche. This is Bentley's a plug-in hybrid that's coming up in the year, and of course the PB18 from Audi that got so much publicity. So all of this was fun. Oh, this is my interview with the Automobili Pininfarina CEO, as I was able to see the car but not release it to you guys. And this is Polestar 1. They had 2 prototypes, pretty impressive, and I'll have a full coverage of that as well. All right, so well, let me go back to the footage. I'll just maybe I'll just kind of loop it for you, so it's just kind of a running as I'm talking about it. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. As you can see, so much footage. I've enjoyed talking to some. I have quite a few interviews. I'll be you know, kind of releasing all of this, and I'll dedicate one video per each sort of segment that you see here, kind of combine all at once, and throughout the next couple of weeks as I'm editing them. So that's that. It was a lot of fun, guys. That was just, I had such a blast. I can't even describe it. All right, so let's move on to, just want to say thank you to a new Patreon, Mikhail, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce our last name. I'm sorry, just not able to, but thank you so much for becoming a Patreon. Here, right here, patreon.com/e4electric. Support the show. You'll be able to watch me live, and of course we're going to do an extra mile segment after it, where sort of they kind of finish the segment for the YouTube, and after that just talking to the Patreons who are watching me live, which I've enjoyed a lot lately. But let's move on to the comment of the day, and this one has to do with Elon Musk and the whole kind of drama what's going on. And really, actually, this was about the interview that I released with Roger Atkins, who was a guest for the second time on my show, and he was months ago he was questioning the Elon's ability to be the CEO, but at that time it raised a lot of eyebrows, and now, you know, he might have been onto something with all of this drama that's been going on. But the comment of the day comes from James Oliver, and he says, if Elon has to work 100 hours a week, all of his direct reports should be fired. This is absurd. A CEO should have to babysit the company. He should be able to delegate, and if he can't, he should replace his staff. It's that simple. I cannot agree with you more. I don't know if Elon is aware of that. I agree. I mean, a quality of a leader is delegation of responsibilities to the people he hired and trusts to execute his vision. And in this case, yes, we know there's JB, there is France, and it looks like he trusts a few people, but obviously not enough where he's able to delegate the very important parts of the company, and he believes he has to do it himself. Now, it's weird because with SpaceX, he's done a great job there delegating. You don't see him being all up in their business over there at SpaceX, and they've done a great job, obviously. But here with Tesla, I think he's struggling to do this, and I agree. Either hire people you can trust, delegate it to him, so they can delegate it to them, so they can you know, make sure you get some sleep without the Ambien, or, you know, fire them and find somebody else who you can trust. So so I really, this is 100% true, 100% agree. Great comment. Thank you so much for putting it up there. Of course, if you guys have comments, go ahead. There's a comment section down below. Have at it. And I usually enjoy, not always, but most of the time I enjoy reading through them. All right, the Extra Mile segment. I'll give you a little bit more information about the Extra Mile in the segment Extra Mile about the Monterey Car Week. To those of you who are watching me live on Patreon, thank you so much. Don't forget to join me on Patreon at patreon.com/e4electric. But it's been fun. I will see you tomorrow with a more extensive Monterey Car Week preview and coverage. Other than that, see you next time, and remember to stay charged.